Hello Year 2 students, welcome to lesson 61. My name is Ella and we will be learning about data today. Okay, what do we need? We need our learning books because that's where we place all of our valuable learning and all our understandings are shown in this book. Okay, let's start with a number talk. It's a little bit different today because we're going to be thinking about how we sort and classify and categorise things. This will help us with our data learning. So I do have a pack of cards. I hope you have one too. And I'm going to start, well actually I've already started, by putting all of my black cards in one pile and all of my red cards in another. So already I've started to sort and classify my pack of cards. Okay, so there's lots of different ways to sort and classify things and put them into different categories, red and black. Maybe I can use the black cards as spades and clubs. Here I go sorting spades and clubs. With my red cards, I could try diamonds and hearts, diamonds and hearts, and so on. So I've got 4 different categories. Okay, so I could categorise them very differently and look at things like picture cards. Which cards have pictures on them? Let's have a quick look through. I've got my queens and my kings. Here's my picture cards and my non-picture cards. Now I'm going to mix the red and the black. Here's my picture cards and so on. There's lots of different ways. I wonder if you can think of one. I wonder if you've already thought about, what about odds and evens? And we can put these into different categories to show what we have in our pack of cards. Okay, I hope you have fun with your warm-up too. Let's get going to the lesson. Today's learning intention is to collect, classify and sort data. And we'll know that we can do this when we can display our data in a list using tally marks. Now, what is data? Okay. Data is information that can be very useful and it helps us to make decisions. Data offers us facts about something that we can use in calculating, reasoning or planning. Okay, let's look at tally marks to start with. They're quite interesting and they help us number how many things we have. So a tally mark looks like this. If I'm counting something, I will do some vertical lines. 1, 2, 3, 4. The 5th one is a horizontal line, 5. And this tells me there are 5 things here for me to count. 5 things. Remember, 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. And that is a 5 tally mark. Okay, so if we know that this is how it works, let's have a look at these ones down here and see if we can number what we have. All right, some tally mark exercises. What have we got here? 1, 2, 3. We have 3. Let's try this tally mark. How many altogether? 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. We have 9 here. Getting good at tally marks. What about this one? Well, we know what this one is. It's 5. And what do we have here? 5. Remember, we can skip count. 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. And when I read this tally mark, I know I have 14 things, items, things that I've counted. Using tally marks is a really efficient and accurate way of counting things and collecting data. It's a very quick way of doing it too. I can recognise this as a 5 straight away. Okay, now let's consider collecting some data for a friend who is a fruit grower in the Riverland. And they have a beautiful orchard. They're ready to make some fruit bowls at different people's houses and they want to plant some fruit trees that will sell. So they need to consider what fruit is being eaten and how easy it is to sell. So we collected some data for her from a few people's fruit bowls to help her decide what fruit she should be growing. Here are 3 different ways that we collected the data to show you. So first of all, we made a list and we worked out that the fruit at my home, we had this many strawberries, apples, oranges, bananas and nectarines. Delicious fruit. So I think you can see that we have the most amount of strawberries. So we have 12 strawberries. Okay, let's have a think about what we could see as a table. So there's my list. This is the same data, but we've placed it in a table. Okay, so we've got the same fruit. We've got a lovely tally that we can recognise now as 5, and 5 will make 10, plus 1 and 2 is 12. And we can see all of those totals there. So it's the same data, but we can see it as a list and we can see it as a table. I think from the table you can see that the least amount of fruit are bananas. Okay, so we can also put this data in a pictograph. So let's have a look at our pictograph. What fruit is in my home? It's the same data, but we're presenting it differently in a pictograph. So we can see how many strawberries, how many apples, oranges, bananas and nectarines. And in this one we can see very clearly, can't we, that we have 1 more nectarine than banana. We have 2 more oranges than apples. And we have 2, 4, 6 more strawberries than oranges. So we can read information from data sets and we can make statements about that. We can also have some questions, can't we? I wonder where the other fruit is. I wonder if there's any other fruit. And I've got a wondering about strawberries. My wondering is how many strawberries might fit in 1 punnet. But that's information that I can see and questions I have about that information. So let's consider my friend's birthday party. It's coming up and I've been invited and I know that he loves Lego, but I need some data. I need to know what he needs as a birthday present. So I've got a part of his Lego here, a big handful, so I can take a collection of that data, and I'm going to now write the names of the colours I have. That's the category I've chosen, colours. I might have chosen size, I could have chosen theme, but I'm going to buy a colour Lego for my friend. So the first one I had was red. There's my tally. Here's another red, a yellow, a blue, a yellow, a yellow, a yellow, and here's my 5th yellow, and that will go across here to make my tally. Okay, let's keep going. 1 white, a green. It's a busy thing to collect data. And there's my 5th red Lego. How many red Legos? 10. White, white, and white. We're getting some interesting data now. A blue and a blue. I can see I have no blue left, so it looks like he only has 3 blue Lego. That might be a hint about my decision next. A white, green, 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 5, a white, 1, 2, 3, 4, I thought so, 5, another red, and the last one, a yellow. And there we have it, my friends, a list and a tally of how many different colours of Lego my friend Malcolm has. Let's have a look. Remember, we know what these tallies are, so let's make sure we write them next to it. We have 5 and another 5 and a 1. 5, 10, 10 and 11. We have 3 here. We have 5, 10 and 1, 11. We have a 5 and we have a 7. A beautiful way to collect our data, making a list and using the tally marks to tell us how many we have. Now, let's make some statements about our data. It seems to me that Malcolm has, the colour he has most are red and yellow. 11 and 11. In fact, he has the same amount of red and yellow Lego in this collection. It seems also that the least amount of colour we have in Lego is blue. Blue and, what's the second least? Here we are, green. Blue and green seem to be the least colour I have in my collection. So, based on those statements, I think my decision will be I need to go and buy Malcolm some blue and some green Lego. Okay, do you have any questions, I wonder, about your data as well? Sometimes we can make statements and sometimes it leads to more questions. I wonder what size Malcolm might need, and that might be a different data collection. What size? Shall I buy him small, medium or large Lego? So today we learned about different data displays, and we also learned to classify and sort a collection using a list and a tally. All right, so what is your doing task? Well, glad you asked. Let's grab our learning books and hunt around the house for a collection to make a list and use our tallies just as I did in your home. So let's consider this. What might be in your room that you could sort through and tally up? Maybe it's some toys, maybe it's your clothes. Have a look around and see what you could use as a collection to make a list and a tally. Maybe you could look in the kitchen. I think if you looked in the cutlery drawer, you might even see that they are sorted for you and categorised. Maybe the fridge, don't leave the door open too long. Maybe the pantry. Let's have a think about what collections we can grab and use as data. Sometimes that's how we make shopping lists too, don't we? And finally, what about the garden? Perhaps you could have a look around and see what is in your garden. Nice fresh air, and classify what you can see. Trees, bushes, plants, etc. Okay, so enjoy that learning. Enjoy making your list and your tally marks, and think about what statements and questions you can make once you've collected that data. And I will see you next lesson. Bye for now.